A lot of persons have said that the problem of Nigeria is not in the lack of resources or lack of knowing what to do. The problem of Nigeria is the system of governance. So people do not really understand what it means to say that the system is bad. Now, this is what we are going to be treating today, and in subsequent video, we'll be explaining the system of Nigeria, what it means, what we can do, or what it entails as a system. What we'll be treating in this video and subsequent video is a system of the Nigerian government. What does it mean? Do we just say that, oh, it's a system that is bad and there's nothing we can do about it? Why it seems like there's nothing we can do about it is because we do not really understand what the system is, such that we cannot get into it and be a part of the solution. And for us to be a part of the solution of the Nigerian problem, we must understand what the system means and how to get into it. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And basically, we're going to be treating three things. We'll be looking at the overview of the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And also, we'll be looking at the how that power has been shared amongst the three tiers of governance. This is what we are going to be doing today. Because without understanding all of these steps, we'll just put them for each other. There are things that we think, oh, they are supposed to be for the federal government. The federal government is supposed to attend to this, and this, but it is supposed to be the duty of the local government or the duties of the state government. And sometimes it's not the duty of just the executives, it's most likely the duty of the legislative, but we do not know. But we are going to be explaining all of these things so that we'll know what is for who. You know, so what duties are meant for what level of governance or what arm of governance. Nigeria operates a federal system of governance. And what does this mean? The federal system means that power is shared between the federal and 36 states and the local governments. This means that the federal government is the center of the whole governance of Nigeria. Then it has 36 states, although there's a proposal for over 30 new states. That will be discussed later whether we need new states or we should stick with these states. But the federal system of governance means that there's a federal government and there are 36 states. In the case of Nigeria, there are 36 states and several other local governments. Also, this means that we have a presidential system of governance whereby the president is the head of state and also the head of governance. This means that the president is the ceremonial head of the federal government. He attends ceremonies both in the country and outside of the country, and as the head of governance in the sense that he signs and makes policies, treaties, he goes into negotiations on behalf of the country and the like. So this means the presidential system means that the president is both the head of state and the head of governance. And the next thing we're talking about is that there are three levels of government and there are also three arms of government. We also need to understand that there are differences between the three arms of government and the three levels of government. We have three levels of government, which are the federal, state, and local government. The federal government is the apex body of the government, where they are the center of the government, which is headed by the president and the vice president. They see to the national issues in the country and the international issues. They deal with the border issues, the economy of the country, the currencies, the geopolitical issues of the country, and ensure that the economy and every part of the country is running accurately and duly. We also have the state government, which in Nigeria here we have 36 states and the FCT. We have 36 governors, which means that every state have their governors, and we also understand that each governors have their jurisdiction, which is their state where they serve. A governor cannot go and enforce or make things happen in the other states without the invitation of the sitting governor of that state. For example, we have seen situations where governors invite other governors to their states to commission projects, to launch several activities in their state, but that is not the executive or the duty of that governor to go to another state to do that. Only when the state governor invites another governor before they can have such activities. This means that each governor have their jurisdiction in their state, unlike the president that oversees the federal and all states to ensure that they carry out their duties accordingly. Also, we have the local government is led by the chairman and the councillors. The local government is saddled with responsibility of grassroots development, the sanitation of the local government, everything that has to do with promoting the local government, whatever stage it is in, into the best stage that the local government could become. Now, another duty of the local government is the primary education and sanitation of the local government. It's the duty of the local government to ensure that that area of the country is properly sanitized and taken care of. Amongst that, there are several other issues, and in subsequent videos, we'll be going into specific duties of every level of government. This is just to give you a brief explanation of all of these arms and the levels of governance. The next one we're talking about is the arms of government, which are the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. In the executive, we have the head of the executive at federal level as the president and the vice president. We also have ministers who work with them at the executive level and other SSAs who ensure that the executive duties are being carried out. And at the state level, we have the governor, the deputy governor, and the commissioners. These are the executive members of the state. And at the local governments, you have the local government's chairman and the councillors. Another arm of government is the legislature. At the federal government, we have the House of Assembly, which is comprised of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate is comprised of 109 members. This comprises of 3 senators per state and 1 senator from the Federal Capital Territory. And in the House of Rep, we have 360 members who represent several constituencies in the country. The Senate is headed by the Senate President, and the House of Representatives is headed by the Speaker of the House and assisted by the Deputy Speaker of the House. At the Judiciary, we have the CJN, which is known as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, is also an appointed position by the President. Under the Judiciary, we have several courts. The highest court is the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Afterwards, we have the Court of Appeal. Under the Court of Appeal, we have the Federal and the State High Court. Yes, there's the Federal High Court and the State High Court. After the Federal and State High Courts, we have the Magistrate and the Customary Court. This court deals with the minor issues in the society. Amongst all of the arms of government, there should be checks and balances, and that is why we have 3 different arms of government to ensure that there are checks and balances amongst them. If you have only the executives, there will not be checks and balances in between the executive, but we have the legislature to check and balance the executive, and we have the judiciary to check both, and likewise each arm is meant to check each other. Now, for example, the president and the governor appoints the ministers and commissioners respectively. The president appoints the judges also, but they cannot be approved by the president. The president only appoints or nominates. The president nominates the ministers, the judges. The governor nominates the commissioners, while it is the duty of the legislature to approve all of these nominations. Without the approval of the legislature, these approvals are not recognized, and they can take up offices and take up the rules of their appointment until the legislature approves of their appointment. Also, the legislature's duty is to make laws, but they cannot pass their bills or their proposals into law without the president signing or vetoing each of these laws. But before the legislature could make laws, the president or the governors need to approve or need to veto all of these laws before they are pushed out to the society and made available for the use of the society. Also, the judiciary can declare the actions of the executives and the legislature unconstitutional because they are the ones who interpret the laws of the country. They can determine if the president has made a wrong move or the legislature has made a wrong move. So it's the duty of the judiciary to look into all of these activities and check and balance the the executive, and the legislature. Also, we need to look at the political system of Nigeria. How does these persons get into office? How are the presidents elected? How are the governors elected? The senators and House of Representative members, they are all elected via the election process that is conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission. This commission is saddled with the responsibility of conducting elections at all levels, the federal level, the state level, and the local government. It is also known as the general elections, and they are held every 4 years accordingly in each state and at the federal level also. And this is the way whereby leaders and politicians are brought into offices through elections. Yeah, and in subsequent videos, we'll be looking at more specific roles of the federal government, the state government, the local governments, the federal agencies, the state agencies, and how they function and are supposed to bring about the good and the development of the country. I trust that you've learned something in this episode, and if you've learned something, I want you to subscribe if you are yet to subscribe. I also want you to like the video and comment what you learned or what you look forward to learning in the next episode. And lastly, I need you to share so that other persons could learn what you've learned today, and they could also come into the knowledge you've learned today and share to other persons. So do well to share. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.